So here we are with Bill Morgan, and I was just going to ask Bill, it seems like when you talk to atheists, a lot of times the subject of abiogenesis is what they call it, which is confusing for me because they don't want to address what happened before evolution. And so to me, it's kind of like making a building and you don't want to talk about the foundation or the structure. You just want to start on like the third floor and say what happened beyond that. So how is it that atheists can isolate it and say, well, they want to just disregard completely the subject of abiogenesis and then just leap into evolution? It's like your feet are planted firmly in midair. And so I don't know if you had any thoughts or interactions.
Many on that. The one question that I know for a fact,
and this is Princess, by the way.
This is Princess, the creation dog, the creation pit bull. One thing I know, atheists hate this question more than any other. How did life originate? What is your best explanation? I've had all kinds of responses. Sometimes they'll say, we don't know. That's why we do science. But if you heard the question, I didn't ask if they knew. I asked, what is your best explanation? That's a big difference than the question I asked, because I don't know. I wasn't there when life originated. My best explanation is it had a supernatural origin, okay? The atheist will often just say, we don't know. I didn't ask if you knew. What's your best explanation? There's the law of biogenesis. Everyone should know this law. Life only comes from life. There's the cell theory. A living cell only comes from a living cell. This is not religious talk, this is science. Life does not rise spontaneously from non-life. But many atheists know this and they want to avoid the question by just saying, that's not a part of the evolution debate. Well, that's like talking about a baseball game, but you only want to talk about the ninth inning. Creationists love to talk about origins. We'll talk about innings 1 through 9. Many evolutionists will avoid the origin of life question and say, no, we're only going to talk about after life already arose. But if your goal in life is truth, you should embrace all questions. Christians should embrace questions that challenge their belief. If people are atheists out there, dig deep into the questions that challenge you. Life does not arise from non-life. Let's talk about dogs real quick, okay? A lot of evolutionists will say, well, there was a Miller-Urey experiment where they mixed hydrogen, methane, ammonia, and water, gave it some energy, and they made amino acids. Okay. My question wasn't, how do they make amino acids in a laboratory? The question is, how did life originate? Okay. Okay, they made amino acids. Well, that's the building blocks to a protein. I didn't ask about building blocks to a protein. How did life originate? Let's talk about this beautiful dog right here. I hope she doesn't, but suppose she passed away right now. What's the difference between her alive and not alive? If she were to pass away, if she were to die, she's got all the amino acids she needs. She's got all the proteins she needs. She's got all the cells, the organs, but she's dead. You see? The evolutionists get excited about a couple of amino acids. I'll give you a dead dog. Bring it to life. If life can come from non-life, people should be dying and coming back to life. Dogs, trees, plants. But once you're dead, you're dead. There's more to a dog and a living human being than biology, chemistry, and physics. Because a dead dog and a living dog can be 100% identical, biologically, chemically, and physically. But there's more to life. It's like a computer. A computer needs hardware, software, and power, okay? A dead dog has the right software, the DNA, the right hardware, but it's lost the life that comes from God. And as humans, we have a soul. And once the soul leaves the body, you're nothing but carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So atheists get excited about amino acids. Bring a dead dog to life. I'm giving you a huge head start.
And so that is kind of an interesting thing, because with life, it's always finite, and everything we understand and know, whether it's trees or animals or humans, and it is quite a mystery of existence, is that we have a short life and we just here today and gone tomorrow. But yeah. So what are some of the theories that you've heard regarding abiogenesis?
I've gotten, for every science, well, I've never really had a human give me an answer. I've read things in the books of Darwin started with a warm little pond. Some people, well, it can get pretty deep. Some people
Spontaneous generation, would that be the Darwinian?
Yes, well, there's many, they just say it had to happen because we're here. But science is a process and an inquiry to that. There's many problems with abiogenesis because proteins don't form where there's an abundance of water. And so they say, well, it formed on the land. Well, solar radiation breaks up peptide bonds. That's what the bonds to make amino acids into a protein. So life didn't start in the water. Life didn't start where there's sunlight. And then they say oxygen, well, oxygen also breaks up a peptide bond. So they will often say life began on a planet underneath the rock, outside of the sun, out of the water, and there was no oxygen in the early atmosphere. Just because they're trying to figure out how you can get the peptide bonds to form into a protein. Now, that's not science, that's wishful thinking, trying to prove a point. But once again, even if you could make a protein, you're not going to make a living dog.
Life from non-life, that's
Exactly.
never been demonstrated.
Exactly. You might make an amino acid, but you're not going to make life. And once again, I say this in kindness, I've been called swear words, insulted, etc. I've never had a person say, Bill, let me explain to you how we think life originated. If you're an atheist, it's a nightmare question for you. But investigate it and seek truth. Don't try to prove what you want to be true. Seek truth. And I think you'll find God.